Hi, beautiful souls. Good day. So for today, I will discuss the definition, preparation, delivery tone, and some forms of discussion method. I hope you will open your minds and ears while I'm discussing. First and foremost, I have a question. What comes into your mind when you hear the word discussion? I'm hoping that you're thinking behind the screens. Well, for me, when I hear the word discussion, I always incorporate it to teachers who share their knowledge and information to their students. But when I research about this topic, it's more than that. So I hope you will give your full attention on me this time. So let's start. So discussion method. Discussion method is also called the Socratic method, after the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates. So Socratic method is a form of cooperative, argumentative dialogue between individuals based on asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions. Discussion methods are a variety of forums for open-ended, collaborative exchange of ideas among a teacher and students. Participants present multiple points of view, respond to the ideas of others, and reflect on their own ideas in an effort to build their knowledge, understanding, or interpretation of the matter at hand. The ideas are proposed, rebutted, and defended until through discussion and critical argumentation, the class discerns the meaning of a given text and, more important, its veracity or error. The truth is found by way of the conversation. The discussion method demands that students come to class well prepared, that it sharpens their powers of reason, analysis, and articulation. So next is the preparation and delivery of discussion method. First is orientation. Provide the discussion topic. So give your students an open-ended problem to solve, a task to complete, a judgment to reach, a decision to make, or a list to create something that begs for closure. Second is clearly describe the question. So slow down when you're using big words or complicated phrases and spell out key names and urge students to do the same. Third is explain how students have to prepare for discussion. So you can distribute a list of questions for each discussion. Ask students to bring in their own questions, suggest key concepts or themes for them to focus on, or ask them to collect evidence that clarifies or refutes a particular concept or problem. Discussions will be more satisfying for you and your students if they are prepared. After all, nobody wants to speak up and end up humiliating themselves in front of others if it becomes evident that they don't know what they're talking about. Fourth, explain how the discussion will be conducted. Establish clear guidelines and parameters for class discussions. These guidelines might specify how many times a student may or should contribute and a maximum time frame for sharing. Clearly communicate how much time you have for discussion and what you are looking for from this time. Use a brainstorming activity. Pose an opening question and give students a few minutes to record an answer. It's up to you as long as the teaching and learning process is effective. And lastly, encourage the students to think. When you ask students a question, if you really want them to think and be able to give an answer, be willing to wait for it. Try to encourage students to develop their own ideas and to respond to one another. Second is engagement. It includes developing an environment. So you should create an inclusive discussion environment. Group members will be more likely to contribute to a discussion if they feel they are in a safe, comfortable environment. So what are strategies in making this possible? At the beginning of term, use an icebreaker activity and ask students to introduce themselves and describe their interests and backgrounds so they can get to know one another. As the facilitator, you should also learn all of your students' names. Use name cards to assist you. Lastly, arrange the seating in the room, if possible, into a semicircle so that the group members can see each other. Next, you should present clear questions to focus the discussion. Have a clear agenda for the discussion and list questions or issues on the board to inform and remind everyone of where the discussion is heading. After that, start by asking students to define the terms. It's really important to unlock and define terms before the proper discussion for students to have a heads up on the topic, avoid misunderstanding its meaning, and for them to clearly impose answers or questions after the discussion. This gives opportunity as what we call a tolerance for error approach, for students sometimes need to get it wrong, take risk, or try out different ideas to learn. Next, if necessary, help the students. If students are having trouble communicating, encourage them to slow down, take a breath, or relax. This is to comfort students that we are willing to wait and we will not make fun of them. For what's important is for their ideas to be processed accurately and comprehensively. Next, wait for each student to answer the question. Avoid the temptation to talk too much and respond to every student's contribution. Avoid finishing the person's sentences or guessing what is being said. This can increase their feelings of self-consciousness. Refocus discussion. If the discussion gets off track, stop and bring the discussion back to the key issues. Indications that the discussion is breaking down include subgroups engaging in private conversations, members not listening to each other and trying to force their ideas, excessive nitpicking and lack of participation, changing the pace by introducing a new activity or question can jumpstart the discussion. Keep a progressive record. It's necessary to keep track on students' progress, especially those quiet or shy students. They need encouragement and spotlight to let them out from their comfort zone. This progressive record can also be incorporated on the discussion itself. Knowing the content to be covered should be included, and most importantly, the lesson's objectives should be attained. Let's consider the following questions. Did everyone contribute to the discussion? How much was I as the facilitator involved? Did the discussion stay focused? What questions worked especially well? How satisfied did the group seem about the productiveness of the discussion? What would I do differently next time? Lastly, close discussion by summarizing or evaluating. Announce that the discussion is ending and ask the group if there are any final comments or questions before you pull the ideas together. Your closing remarks should show the students how the discussion progressed, emphasizing 2 to 3 key points and tying the ideas into the overall theme of the discussion. Also, be sure to acknowledge the insightful comments students have made. Providing closure to the discussion is critical for ensuring that group members leave feeling satisfied that they accomplished something. Third and lastly, debrief. Allow time for students and facilitate student reflection on what they learned. Always debrief students. It is the most important part of a discussion, the time to summarize and synthesize. You can use debriefing to correct incorrect notions. You can slip in any points that students neglected but that are important. You can ask students to write about how their thinking changed as a result of the discussion or how the discussion fits into the context of issues previously discussed. Have students hand in their papers and review samples to assess what they have learned. So discussion method has forms including brainstorming, fishbowl, informal debates, KWL or what I know, what I want to know, and what I learned activity, and many more. But for now, I will just discuss 6 forms of discussion method that teachers usually apply inside the classroom. First form is role play. Role playing gives students a chance to apply acquired knowledge, develop problem-solving skills specific to the course content, and increase their understanding of the subject matter. In role-playing, students get a situation and a cast of characters and improvised dialogue to act out the event as if they were participants. Second is formal group discussion. It provides a deeper understanding of the subject. It improves the ability to think critically, provides different approaches to solving a problem, and helps the group in taking a decision. Third is the participatory learning method. The teacher is the focus of the discussion, asking students questions and answering their inquiries. It is a quick way to get feedback on what students know, but peer interaction is minimal. This activity can be used asynchronously or synchronously. Fourth, panel discussion. It involves a group of people gathered to discuss a topic in front of an audience. It brings together top talent in one area so that a group can share and build upon each other's experience. Fifth is seminar or mini seminar that can be held in classroom level. It is a form of a class organization that utilizes a scientific approach for the analysis of a problem chosen for discussion. Its focus is on the discovery of new relationship by the participating individuals. Its objective is to give students opportunity to participate in methods of scientific analysis and research procedures. Lastly is the symposium. Symposium is a teaching technique that serves as an excellent method for informing the audience, crystallizing their opinion, and preparing them for arriving at decision regarding a particular issue or topic.
Therefore, we can conclude that the discussion method is more focused on students' development in terms of reasoning, critical and analytical thinking through open-ended collaborative exchange of ideas.
So that's the end of it. I hope you listen and I hope you gain new information from my presentation today. If you have questions, clarifications, just PM me. Kidding aside. Again, thank you for listening and watching. This is Mitzi, Joyce, Tumimang. Goodbye.